think you said eczema since the time you were a child, right? But now, how would you rate your skin?
Oh, my skin looks great.
She's like, "Oh, my skin looks
Skin
great."
looks great. It's great, and I don't have, like, the itch and the irritation and all that. Yeah, it's
Done,
It's gone.
done. I think that the best way that people learn is actually through stories. I also know that the best way that people learn is through emotion, feeling, and identifying with other people who've gone through the same story or same journey and the emotional toll and impact and what their experience is. So today we're gonna have real stories, real journeys, real emotion, real outcomes, and here we go.
So, Patti, thank you for being here. Why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you personally, if you'd like to share?
my name obviously is Patti. I'm 56 years old, and, I don't know if I have anything interesting to say because I really wanna talk about food mapping, honestly.
Well, I know you had mentioned children. Tell us just a little bit maybe about your family.
Yeah, so I'm married, I have 3 adult children, I live in New York.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit, Patti, about what brought you to this in the first place and how did you know, or what were the light bulb moments for you when you realized, I think I have some issues with food that need to be addressed?
Well, I was having eczema, and I've had eczema, and psoriasis on and off since I've been 12 years old, and, I was also having episodes of vertigo, and I was really concerned about that, but also I was on vacation, and I started to have more dots in other places, like, that I thought were bug bites, and I realized I was now starting to it was starting to become even more systemic and going to different parts of my body too, and, yeah, so I signed up, and I really want to give it a try.
What I'm
So
hearing is that this was lifelong problems for her, Dr.
yep.
Maggie.
Here's the thing is a lot of people, and we spoke to Sylvia from Peru this earlier today. People think that eczema is a problem that's in the realm of dermatologists or allergists, and they struggle with it for decades or years without getting actual real outcome. I mean, did you go the whole conventional route like Sylvia did? And how many of you guys out there are dealing with eczema? Type in chat, or your kids are. I put in chat. Allergists and GI docs don't believe that eczema has anything to do with food. So, how many years did you go about that route? And did you receive all those treatments and testing?
I would say on and off throughout my life, there was only one thing that I was offered, and it was usually some type of steroid cream, and lately, but earlier in the year when I used it, I found out that when I would try a little bit, and then I would get more spots somewhere else, and I said, I can't use this." And then I went to the allergist, for food testing, and I was told, "No, like, that's not gonna help you, those aren't accurate."
So you were running up against brick wall after brick wall. You weren't getting any better, and it sounds like in some cases it was starting to just get worse. And I'm hearing frustration, and I can only imagine how frustrating that must have been until how did you come across the Transform program?
I think I was watching an autoimmune summit, and there was a woman who was a melt person, and she was
Yeah.
saying, "You have to," she's saying to the moderator, like, "You have to interview Dr. Maggie Yu. You have to," like, she was real. And so then I went into the Facebook group, and then I just started watching the videos.
And then it clicked for you that this was somewhere finally where you thought you could get answers and solutions.
Yeah, and it was an investment, and I talked to my husband about it, and we thought, like, it's not just an investment for now, it's an investment for the rest of my life, so it completely made sense.
Well, I want to hear, what did you learn then about your food testing while in the program? What was shocking
Dun,
to you to
dun,
find out?
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, so there's a few things. So first of all, I'll say that I was eating plant-based, and then so I found out what items I was actually allergic to that were regularly in my diet, like, bananas, dates, kale, pineapple. That was one thing, and then also my body was giving me, signals that I was allergic to dairy, but that showed up that I was highly allergic to cow's milk, and then I also found out that I had a nut allergy,
Mm.
that I was allergic like almonds, macadamia nuts, and Brazil nuts showed up as, like, I was having Brazil nut every day for the selenium.
Well, a
Yeah.
lot of people that they're like, "It's healthy, and I have a thyroid issue. I'm gonna take selenium." And so here's the really interesting thing. I talked about this in my live training about the different. There is the difference with the testing that we do and the education we do is there's a huge genetic component to the data that we collect, and there were hidden clues. And I said, "Hey, Patty, if you have this nut allergy, it's a super allergen. The likelihood that your children have a nut allergy are each 50%. So there's huge genetic implications." So was I on or was I off on that point?
You're absolutely on because my daughter does have a nut allergy, and I didn't suspect that I had one. And I also want to add that I coffee showed up as an allergen for me. I've never liked coffee, but just a few days ago for Christmas, one of my other daughter was here, and she said, "I can't drink coffee. I feel so sick afterwards." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, that's definitely genetic because it showed up on my test."
Well, just think about how much self trust that builds for you and for your daughter to be validated instead of being dismissed by allergists saying those tests are not valid. Your reactions aren't real. Your testing here is negative. I mean, you start to really feel like you're cuckoo, and it really erodes your self trust. I mean, for me, I love the fact that this is scientific. There's data. It validates not only about you, it validates genetics and real medical issues and symptoms and root cause for your children. Hi, I'm Maggie Yu, MD, and I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician and the creator of the Transform and Transform Protocol. If you're interested in learning what are the root causes of all chronic disease, go ahead and click the link in the description where I have a power pack 30-minute training that goes over what are the 5 pillars of Transform. Go ahead, click the link, and I'll see you in that training. Patty mentioned all the genetic information for her children. So minimally, the one person that does this affects minimum of 3 generations because there's a huge genetic component here.
Patty, did you
Um,
want to speak to that?
It's interesting because my family now, both my husband and my children, are really aware of how they feel when they eat certain foods and will come and say like, "Oh, I don't think I should eat that anymore. I don't feel so good afterwards." So, they went from making fun of me to now actually like really sensing their body when they eat foods. And my husband even noticed, I don't remember what food it was, but he said, "Oh, I ate a lot of whatever it was the day before." And he's like, "I had so much joint pain the next day." So, just by me doing it, they're starting to like pay attention more to their diet.
Connecting the dots. Okay, so I want to hear once you discovered that you had these sensitivities, many of them foods that you were consuming on a regular basis, you obviously removed those from your diet. And what has the journey been like since? How have the symptoms changed after dealing with food mapping and taking those sensitivities out?
My skin cleared, but I do wanna add that it didn't happen immediately, and I know Dr. Maggie talked about, like, I think, like, the antibodies in the system, that I had a habit of being impatient and wanting results and not really sticking with things for a long term. So I learned from Dr. Maggie that, it really like, my body needed time, and I just like did what I had to do. I just said, I'm going to stick with it. And even when my kids were like mocking me a little bit, like, "Oh, you're taking all these foods out, and I don't think your skin looks good," because there was a little point where it felt like it was flaring, but then it just started clearing and clearing and clearing. Yeah. So you can see what it
So
looks
I
like.
love this because it's a scientific basis thing. Do you know that there is a scientific basis for how long it actually takes allergens to clear out your system, even 50%? It's like 6 to 8 weeks. And the other aspect of it is there's people that about 10% of individuals, even on the right foods that you remove, will go through a withdrawal syndrome from that food where you actually flare. And then if no one was here to tell you, hey, that's a good sign, you're going to be like, oh, maybe I should eat it again. So that's the problems. People don't understand this. Providers do not understand this.
Truly, truly makes a big difference. Okay, so you removed it. It was a slow process, but you mentioned the skin is now clear. I mean, I think you said eczema since the time you were a child, right?
Yeah, but it would come and go, and like this last one I've had, I think it started like before March, and then it just was just getting worse. Like it wasn't clearing. Yeah.
But now, how would you rate your skin?
But my skin looks great.
She's like, oh, my skin looks
Skin
great.
is great, and I don't have like the itch and the irritation and all that. Yeah, it's
Done.
It's gone.
Done.
yeah.
Amazing. And you had mentioned vertigo as well. Where do you stand with that?
Vertigo is fine. I mean, I followed the transform fundamentals,
System.
the
Mhm.
system, right,
Yeah.
and so, the food mapping, and I did that too, but my vertigo's fine.
And think about that. How many people don't realize the vertigo, another word for it, dizziness, other words for some of these symptoms like POTS or dysautonomia, don't even realize it may have something to do with your food. Boom.
Patty, you mentioned you had reflux as well, right?
Yes, I had, like, didn't even wanna eat, I had, like, bad episodes of reflux, and, I started taking that digested chewable, and I'm fine.
Gosh.
That and changing my diet and yeah.
Overall, I'm just curious to hear, how has this program and going through the food mapping system changed your life?
Well, it's changed my life a lot because now I feel like now I know what I'm allergic to, and so I'm totally responsible whether I eat those foods or not. So, like, I feel like if I wanna take care of my health, I do what I need to do. So it's like I know what not to do and what to do. So to me, it feels really liberating to have the information.
What is it like working live one on one with Dr. Maggie in this setting to have an expert actually go through and evaluate what your results are with your food sensitivities and also learn from her about digestion?
It's really amazing just because the like wealth of knowledge that Dr. Maggie has. Like there's precision in how she approaches each person's test results and also, other things she asks about, but there's a precision. And it's also sort of nuance. And a lot of times I'd hear so much information that I had not heard before, heard anywhere else. Yeah, I mean, she really is a master at this.
Based on everything that you went through before this, do you think that something like this is worth it for those out there watching to invest in for a one and done class for my food mapping masterclass?
It's absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it to have definitive answers.
Mm.
And I spent a lot of time and energy trying to follow what other people did for their issues that weren't customized to me.
Anything you'd like to say to anybody that's either watching or to Dr. Maggie herself?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Maggie for creating this system. It just feels so good to have answers. I want to say, like someone in the chat was sort of questioning the test results, and I feel like my my health is validates these test results that I got. I followed like eliminating the any allergens that showed up and my skin cleared, and I don't have vertigo. So for me, like that shows like, yeah, this information that I got is real and it works. And yeah, I would encourage anyone who is struggling to sign up and to yeah, to enroll and to take the leap of faith and then to really follow it. Follow what Dr. Maggie says. Like keep the faith and follow it, and then the results will happen.
You put the work in, you'll see the results.
Yes.
All right. Patty, thank you.
To learn more about the food mapping system and my food mapping masterclass, click the link above or below this video.